Are you ready? Stand by.
This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the 3-Gun Show, and I'm with Tina Martin-Nims from Team Breda, and we are going to learn about choke selection.
So before you go out to the match, you want to make sure that you have an understanding of how what your chokes are patterned at. So what I like to do is I have my three main chokes that I usually use, which is a spreader, an IC, an improved cylinder, and a mod. And I set my targets out at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And it's just like a knockover steel and a flipper. And I test to see what those how they perform at those distances with the ammo that I typically use. And so when I go out onto a stage, I already know that at, say, 35 yards, I can use my mod choke and knock it out. And I'll be ready to go.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's your tech tip from Tina Martin-Nims of Team Breda. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at BredaUSA.com. That's BREDA. This podcast is brought to you by LAG Tactical. I've been using LAG gear for 3 years now, and I just got an upgrade into their new for 2018 MCS mag pouches. MCS stands for Modular Carry System and is a two-piece design that fits most double-stack 9 and 40 mags and most AR mags. That means I can loan gear to someone in need on the range, even if we're shooting different guns. I've been using these pouches for many matches now, and they've been great. I like that you can choose the retention based on what is required by the stage, Speed Demon or locked in tight. I've been shooting the low-cut Supernova holster as well, and it has been a dream. They make it in a mid and high cut too if you're into that, but I'm digging the low cut, super fast draws, and plenty of retention when you need it. Check them out, lagtactical.com, and use code 3GS in all caps to save yourself 10% when placing an order. Hey there, and welcome to the 3-Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. If you're new here, our regular Wednesday show is a deep dive into the mindset, training, and techniques of the best practical shooters in the world. What you're listening to now is a Match Recon podcast where we have a shooter run down a set criteria and give you the tools needed to excel when shooting the match that we're covering. I do a lot of these recons myself, and if I didn't shoot the match, I interview one of the amazing people in our community that did. This is the replay of the Recon podcast that supporters of the 3-Gun Show on Patreon got to listen to real time. Patreon is a subscription-based service that allows you, the listener, to support creators like myself on a monthly basis. I can't thank the patrons enough for their support of the 3-Gun Show, which helps me to continue bringing regular, high-quality content to you. If you dig the work that I'm doing on the podcast, on YouTube, on Instagram, etc., consider supporting the show with a few bucks each week at patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon. Show notes, including a written breakdown of all the recon criteria, can be found at 3gunshow.com. Just search for the name of this match. Now enjoy this match recon, and I'll see you on the range. Welcome to the 3-Gun Show, brought to you by Armalite. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and this is a match recon episode with special field correspondent Adam Maxwell. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
Had a wild weekend in Vegas, David. It was crazy.
Well, we are going to hear all about that coming up here. Glad to have you on the podcast once again. And this, as always, is exclusive to patrons, the people that support the show via Patreon, for the first 90 days. So if you're listening to this sometime in October of 2017, you're a patron, and we appreciate you. And if you're listening to it later, you can get in on these Match Recon podcasts, plus all the other great rewards as well, by going to patreon.com/3gunshow. That's patreon.com/3gunshow. You know, Adam, one of the cooler things is we have a Facebook group that is for patrons only. And it's actually kind of fun because it's like it's the number one thing I look at when I go to Facebook. So if there's anything that any of the patrons post in there, I see it first before I see anything else. Before I see what my mom posts.
You know, I I need a new group of friends. I think I should become a Patreon member so I can see what y'all are talking about.
A lot of that talk is about you. You'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
So,
Am I that interesting, though? I hardly think so.
We can get into that in a minute here, but first, for everyone else, be sure to listen to the show afterwards, after we talk about this match that Adam shot here for a special offer from Marmalite, and enjoy this one with Adam Maxwell. Dude, yes, people talk about you. They really enjoyed the last couple podcasts that we've been doing. A lot of swearing and your name involved. And
oh yeah. Yeah, those are just some good screenshots.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point now, Adam, where I've told folks, look, I'm not going to continue this conversation via IM or via email. You can put this on the Facebook. And they're like, well, I don't want so-and-so to see, or I don't want my sponsors to see. It's like, okay, then stay silent and enjoy your misery, or you can join in the conversation. We'll have a good time. So people have strong opinions on stuff. They're just afraid to share them publicly for whatever reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they? Wait, they have strong opinions, or they have strong opinions about me?
Strong opinions about your opinions, because you were taking the.
I did that on purpose. So.
Yeah, you had the unfortunate role of taking devil's advocate on a lot of those things, right? So.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I was super excited about the concept and the body of work when you first started it at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we talked about before. I mean, you can only go to so many matches. I can only go to so many matches. But, even if we get, a third or a fourth personality in here, it's like, let's blow out the body of work. So it's a complete encyclopedia, or as complete as it can be.
Yeah.
And I think, especially now that I've done several of them with you, even if you don't agree with what I like or what I have to say or whatnot, I feel like if you listen to enough of these, you kind of can gauge my opinion of something, and then you can hold that as a reference point to what you're looking for. So even if I don't like a match or I don't like something about a match, you can compare it against your taste and preferences and be like, well, I'm kind of about that. So
yeah. Well, and the most controversial thing that you and I have done to date was the "What Rule Would You Change" podcast, and that one is the one I got the most feedback on. But these match recons that we've been doing, I think they're great. And like you said, we're going to create like a body of work where people can go and listen and think like, okay, well, I want to know what this match is like. I'm going to shoot this, so I'm going to go listen to this, right? And as you've been helping me out and participating with it, it's brought a bunch of other people out of the woodwork. Like, hey, I shot this match. Would you want to hear about this? Like, heck yeah, dude. Yeah. So it's cool. We're getting a lot of participation on it.
Yeah, and it's going to be really cool too when we go into next year and we start going back to some of these matches. As the years go on, you're going to be able to watch matches evolve.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to watch the sport evolve. So I think it's really cool. I'm really excited about it. I mean, a lot of people don't understand how much work it is behind the scenes to actually do these shows. I mean, I think we kind of make it look easy at this point, but it is,
my favorite thing is people will say, well, what do you do? What do you mean you're working on the show? You just talk for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we were probably talking for 45 minutes before we even hit record on this one. So.
Yeah, for sure. Plus, that there's like, sound editing and show notes and everything like that goes into it.
Oh yeah, all the not fun stuff,
social media stuff, and yeah. So,
yeah, like it's fun to throw a party, but you still have to clean up after.
Yeah, you got to plan the party, you got to clean up,
got to go grocery shopping.
Yeah, but it is something. Fun that I love doing, so I'm glad that people listen every week.
Oh yeah, and if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it. But no, there's some effort involved. I should definitely be sleeping right now.
Yeah, but. So it's Tuesday for folks at home. It's Tuesday, October 10th. It's 10 p.m. my time, so that means 11 your time, right? You're still on Central.
Yep.
So you flew out. You drove to Minneapolis, or you're in Wisconsin now. Middleton, you drove to Minneapolis, Minnesota Thursday, right? Flew out to Las Vegas, shot a 3-day or 2-day match, and then came home Sunday night, right?
Yes.
Slept for a little bit, back to work on Monday.
No. Yeah, so in case you think that Adam Maxwell just parties like a rock star. I worked a full day of work on Wednesday, doing my real job, until yabba dabba doo time. Slid off the back of the Brontosaurus, and I got in my truck and I drove to Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is about, we'll call it 4 hours. All right. So went there, crashed, at my parents' house and whatnot. That's home plate for me, so that's easy. But got a ride to the airport. My flight was actually later on Thursday. It was in the afternoon, but I went and saw my people at Arms and Arms.
Nice.
Had some trading and acquiring to do. So did that. So I flew out Thursday afternoon. And that was some poor planning on my part. I booked that flight a long time ago. But basically, I flew in Thursday night, which means I did not scout the stages.
Oh.
At all. Did it live on Friday. Shot the match Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Gunner on from JP Rifles and I got up at 3 a.m. on Monday. Flew back. He flew back, went straight into work on Monday.
Oh.
Logistically, that just wouldn't work for me. So I had a layover in Seattle also. So I flew Las Vegas to Seattle, Minneapolis, transferred over to my pickup, drove 4 hours back, walked in the door at my, where I live in Wisconsin about 10:30 last night. Took a nap, went to work all day today. Did a practice session tonight, and here we are.
Yeah, you should be asleep, buddy.
Yeah.
We're sacrificing for the show.
Yeah, highly caffeinated. Cannot stress how unhealthy my life choices are, but it's good. It's good.
Well, all right. Well, hey, let's get into it, dude. What match did you shoot?
I was really excited about this one. I put this one, I've never been here before, but I put it on my schedule as one I definitely wanted to try from what I saw from last year and years before. Went and shot the SureFire World Multigun Championship in Las Vegas, Nevada, put on by Pete Rensing and his crew at iScope.
And for people listening in the future, it was 2017.
Oh, yes.
And
2017.
So that was October 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Well, see, this thing is kind of an extravaganza. I didn't actually fully appreciate how big it was. But there's a fun-sized match that was last weekend, so September 30th and October 1st.
Oh, okay.
Which was like a 2-day kind of a bite-sized thing, like they abbreviated it. I think they did seven day stages and 2 night stages for $150. And I think it was self-RO'd. It was a little bit more, I wasn't there, but I would call it like club style match. Then there's the RO shoot, which is the full shindig, but it was in the middle of the week. That was $250. So you could kind of do the pre-match if you wanted to do that kind of thing, which I've done before at the High Desert Championship. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And then the main match that I shot, that was 6th to the 8th, and that was $350, and that's the full 16 stages, 3 days, with dedicated ROs and earned prizes.
Nice. So that was at the Pro Gun Club?
Yep. It was at Pro Gun Club just outside Henderson, Nevada, which is there's a few pretty big ranges around Las Vegas. Of the ones that I've seen is probably one of the ones I like better. I don't really like Desert Sportsman. I was there, it just kind of had a sour taste in my mouth. But from USPSA Multigun, and then the SHOT Show range days from last year, Pro Gun Club is really a nice range, and it's not too far outside the main Las Vegas area, so you're not out in the boondocks,
right?
Really, but it's far enough out that doing their own thing and they're set up properly. So.
All right. And so was this a total time or a points match?
Ooh, I believe this was a points match.
Okay. And the rule set?
It was a points match, yes. And then it was governed under the newly coined or evolved WML World Multigun League rules.
UML.
And then, what did I say?
WML.
UML, United
World
Multigun League. And then they scored it under Expedition Multigun Scoring.
Okay.
Whatever that means. But it's Pete Rensing's proprietary blend of multi-gun that he's trying to get going, trying to take the best ideas out of everything that's out there, put it together and in a standardized format. And he's got some ideas of how we can make it a more unified league across the country for next year.
Cool.
But it's his proprietary rule set that's evolved, out of the same rules that we've been using forever. But it does have its subtle nuances.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get into those. And so this was on Practice Score?
Yes. Yep. And they were doing the Practice Score score log. I think that's a new thing now. Like I would get an email every time one of my scores was entered or synced.
Oh, cool.
I would get an individual, like it was like the carbon copy, that they used to give you back in the olden times.
You mean like last week?
Yeah, like at Rocky Mountain. But they used to, so now you have an individual score for each one of your stages, and it's kind of a verification that this one got uploaded to the mothership. So, especially if you're someone like me, you don't like to look at your scores, you can at least be like, that's the time that I remember seems like a reasonable amount of points.
Right. And
then there's some sort of trail. Like when Practice Score first started going on, and like, tap to approve here. And it's like, okay, well, what if something happens to that? You're like, there's no recourse for arbitration if you don't have a copy of something. So that was kind of cool this time that they I think that's a new feature, or it's a feature that's not very utilized in Practice Score, and they were using it this time. So
cool.
That was cool. That was the first time I'd seen that.
Very cool. So what was the schedule of the match?
Schedule is kind of hard to keep track of. Like if you look at the matrix, it's like, what's going on here? But basically, the main match is 15 stages. And I hope my math works out here, but I went to public school, so y'all can bear with me.
Did you say 15 or 16 stages?
Yeah, see. So there's 10. There's like 10. There's 2 blocks of 5 day stages. And then one day you're going to shoot 5 stages in the afternoon and then 2 night stages. And then one day you have a schedule of 3 stages, which are the longer Ironman. They call them the Ironman stages, but the field course is more the bigger, the whole enchilada stages. So you have a day. You have a day with 3 stages. You have a day with 7 stages, and you have a day with 5 stages on an alternating AM PM type schedule. For example, our first day, we shot the big stages first. So our first day, we had 3 stages right away in the morning. We had a whole afternoon off. We had a whole morning off the next day. So we started shooting at like 1. We did 5 of the burner bay stages, the 2 night stages. And then on the last day, we started in the morning again, and we did another block of 5 bay stages.
Okay.
For a grand total of 15.
Okay.
And then if you're in the top tier of your division, depending how many people are in your division, one of the things that Pete does is kind of shake things up, normalize it, whatever you want to call it, but he takes the top of that division and he makes you shoot a 16th stage. It is your stage in your match. You don't get a choice. They tell you you're going to do it. And that stage is worth triple points.
Really?
Yes. So you can be 3rd or whatever, 5th or whatever. You can crush that 16th stage and win the match. Or you could have a commanding lead, tank that stage, and, get stabbed in the back. So, and it's kind of also, it doubles as the distraction whilst we do the prize table kind of thing.
Right.
So they gather everybody around and be like, all right, well, we're going to do this shoot off here. All right, you guys go over and do your prize table. We're going to thank this sponsor. Here's your plaque, blah, blah, blah. They're live streaming it the whole time, so that it's kind of, it's kind of an effort towards like what we were doing with the Jeff Kirkwald match. We were trying to make it a little bit more of a production while all the people are standing around. It's kind of an effort at showmanship and bringing everybody together and kind of getting that kind of end of the match party going on.
I kind of like that.
It was that 16th stage, yeah.
I'm completely biased because I was involved in the Kirkwald match this year, but I think it's a cool thing.
As was I.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing.
But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was a cool idea, and that was part of what solidified in my head last year, because I was standing in the Vortex booth next to Ruben when Pete pitched it to him last year at SHOT Show, that to sponsor this match. And like, hey, that sounds pretty cool. I think I want to do that one this year. Because truth be told, and I hope Pete can see the humor in this, the first time I ever heard about this match, I thought it was a scam. I really did.
What do you mean?
Because one day I get this invitation in the mail. You are cordially invited to the SureFire World Multigun Championship of the universe.
You got this in the mail?
It'll be the greatest blend of everything that is 3-gun, and I'm like, wow, this is... And it's like, wait a minute. At the time, like, this is pre-practice score, right? Like, at the time, this is not how matches are run. Like, nowadays, it's like, oh, yeah, that's really cool. That's professional. That's how it should be. But at the time, like, was not a professional industry. Like,
yeah,
it's back when you sign up and it's full in 10 minutes.
Well, and not only that, but it's like the a couple of the matches that we've talked about before, where they make you jump through hoops to actually shoot it, or they could care less if you're there. They treat you like shit. Their ROs are dicks,
And I had never heard of Pete Rensing. I had never heard of iScope. All I know is, and then there was kind of this odd deal, and it was worded as like, you qualified. You have been selected out of, the most elite. And at the time, I was shooting semi-pro in 3-Gun Nation, the series that they were doing at the time with all the outlaw matches. Mm-hmm. Like you pay your extra $50 to be, in contention.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So at the time, I was like, oh, this guy just bought a 3-Gun Nation mailing list. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, I'd never heard of this match, never heard of this range. I'm just going to send this guy $350 and maybe shoot this match in the fall. No. So I didn't go. I thought it was a scam. I really did. And, it turned out not to be in the, I was talking with Jesse Tischhauser about it too. I was like, is this thing for real? He's like, yeah, I think so. He's like, I'm going. I had better things to do or whatnot. But as the match, became established and start to see video of it and whatnot, I was like, oh, that might be kind of fun to do. And then I was there. I got kind of some of the inside scoop from Peter. I heard it from him directly. What he was trying to put on. I was like, all right, you know what? That's cool. I want to do that one next year. And so that's what got me out there. But I think it's kind of funny that initially I thought it was a scam.
Yeah. I love it, and it shows like how far our industry has come to where like people being nice and saying nice things and want to put on like a nice experience for you cause suspicion.
Yeah, no, it was like a formal invitation on cardstock stationery. Like, it was nice. It was very nice. Yeah. I feel kind of bad about it now, but like I said, I hope you can see the humor in it because I think it's kind of funny now. But
all right, well, good times. Well, that's great, man. So we talked about the match fee was $150, $250, and $350.
Yep.
How many shooters shot it?
I think initial registrations were kind of in that 130, 150 range. I was talking with Dottie. They kind of have the same shrink that I'm used to at other matches, where you get about 10% shrink of people who sign up but actually show up. So I think the total number of people who actually got a score was somewhere around 115.
Okay.
There was a few DQs, especially on our squad, which we can talk about later. But yeah, I think there was something like tapping practice score right now. I'm gonna throw the dart at 115. 116. 116 people got a score.
Dang, you're close.
Yeah.
All right. And so what divisions are recognized, and who were the winners of those divisions?
All right. So we had the dynamic duo in heavy optic. Jeremy Reed won it. I believe he displaced Barry Duke in that 16th stage. I believe Barry Duke was coming in hot for the win, and I think Jeremy unseated him.
Nice.
Going off of memory there, I was dehydrated. There was sun and the whole thing. Travis Gibson won open.
Very cool.
And I would say what I would call a fairly solid victory over Mike Whiteside at 93% and Jojo Fernandez. I'm sorry, Jojo, I butchered your name. But the breakdown was 90 or 100, 93, and 90%. So
Whoa.
and to me, that's like they're pretty close together. But Travis won.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Travis won. Mike did a pretty good job and was right on his heels. So I would say that was close, not a nail biter.
Right.
Which is not the case with T.O. T.O. has a ton of dudes stacked, belly buttons to buttholes. Wyatt Gibson won at 100%.
So hang on. That's news in itself, right? Is Wyatt and Travis no longer shoot the same division?
For this match, I've seen Wyatt shoot T.O. Before at Ironman. I'm sure he and Travis shoot limited at Ironman. I mean, they would shoot both matches back in the day. So I guess
I gotcha.
It doesn't surprise me to see the Gibsons moving around. I know they've been shooting a lot of open lately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know them personally, so we don't text or talk, but I'm sure we're aware of who each other is. But I've seen them shooting a lot of open lately, but it does not surprise me that Wyatt would decide to shoot T.O.
Gotcha.
And then we had Gregory Phibbs. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher some of these names. Andrew McAllister and John Morier. John Murray.
Yeah, Murray. Yeah, Armalite
John
shooter.
Murray. I'm sorry. But, they're right there at 99, 98%.
Yeah.
Behind Wyatt. And then Max and Scott Green and Rich Wolf were right behind him in, that 96, 95%. So the top 5% is pretty much the top 10 dudes. Those guys were really close, and I'm sure some of that shook out quite a bit in that 16th stage.
Right. Interesting.
So, and then
dude, that was tight.
It was. I kind of wish we would have hung out and watched that, but we scooted early. We were kind of early in the 16th stage shenanigans, so I like shot and Scott, shoot and scoot.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, there's this little limited division.
Right, where people go to hunt trophies.
Yeah, I won, and then there's this Kyle Frazier.
Hey, hang on. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Very nice work.
Yeah. So I won limited. Kyle Frazier was right behind me in second, and Brandon Schillen was right behind him in third. So,
and how close
I think there's about 15 dudes in limited, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle and Brandon were in the 90 percentile. So, that one was not a phoned in victory either. Those guys were working hard for it. So hats off to them.
Well done, sir.
But yeah, no, I mean it got called up to the 16th stage, and it was exciting. It was exciting. So, but that's kind of how the results broke down for the match. And there's some bigger names there. I mean, Keith was there. Who else? John McClain. Just gonna be grabbing for names here, but I mean, they're all, a lot of the West Coast guys were there, and everybody was kind of like, the stages seem pretty simple on the surface, but everybody was struggling. Everybody was having their own battles. I had 2 PMags decide to give up the ghost on me in 2 different stages. So
yeah, I saw that.
Gonna have a PMag bonfire here, I think, before too long.
You're gonna have to load your PMags in the hotel room now.
No, I think they're just. I mean, those 2 mags have been on a steady use cycle for about 3 years.
Yeah,
like they're 2 of my primary mag. I think it's just time. I got fresh ones at home. I might as well just use them.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna wear these 2 out, and then I'm gonna switch. So I didn't want to. I was gonna put those 2 in rotation, and then I was gonna swap them out. And this weekend I decided that it's time. So.
All right then. All right.
But yeah. So I think
were there
quick
other opportunities
stats,
to
isn't
shoot?
There were not, but Jesus, 16 stages.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, and here's the cool thing, like 16 stages. I mean, we've established that I like to shoot, right? I did not bring enough ammo.
Really?
Right? Yeah, I was bumming ammo off my teammates, my PWS teammates, Chad Timney, and Fred Ruiz. Like, hey guys, can I buy some 9mm off you? Hey, can I buy some shot shells off you? I need a couple more slugs. Is it cool if I just? And they're cool. We prearranged that, but no, like I made the joke at the shoot off, but it's like, no, I just shot the last of my ammo. I'm out. Like, it's time to go. It's time to go to the airport. But so it's 15 stages of shooting. A typical match, here in 2017, 3-Gun Nation matches are 8 stages.
Yep.
Maybe 9 stages.
Yep.
The Outlaw matches, I mean, Tri-Gun's 9 stages. I think Missouri Championship is 9 or 10 stages. Texas, Shooter Source is about 10 stages.
I think
here's a match that's
was
15 stages.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, holy cow, 15 stages. That's going to be like the Baton Death March of 3-Gun. But it's not. Like, they're not exhausting stages, and they're put on a really good schedule. Like, the really big stages are that light day. You only have 3 stages on that day. So the day you have to walk back and forth, over this, big area to reset steel, that's 1 day and you're out, 3 hours and you're out. Go find a cool place and a margarita and chill out,
Well, it's cool that he runs the stages like that, because people become married to the numbers, and this happened at Pro-Am. Like, we would shoot stages 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
You shoot 4 a day. I can't even remember now. But where it splits from stage 5 to stage 6, now you got to go from Thunder Valley all the way over to the bathhouse, right?
Yep.
Which means you're on the highway. And if you're not familiar with Rockcastle, it's several thousand acres. So now you got to go out on the highway and then go back around into the facility, and now you're in the bathhouse. And then you got to go, to a different place. So when they cluster them in little areas like that, it makes it much easier to navigate those stages, and it makes it easier to move your shit, makes it easier to coordinate with your squad mates. It's just a better overall experience.
Same thing on day 2. Like, you had to do 7 stages in 1 day, and in your mind, what you've been indoctrinated to think, like, oh my God, 7 stages. Like, that's most of the tri-gun in one day.
Yeah.
Like, I shoot with the ROs at the tri-gun, right? Like, I mean, like, I like it, but I'm like one of the only people who likes it because, like, I like shooting, so I don't really care. But most other people are like, F this noise. So, but, you know, it's an attainable, no, you know, it's 5 pretty mellow, like USPSA style stages.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you have like an hour or so while you wait for the sun to go down. And this time of year, like once the sun dips behind the hill, it's just like, and it's dark. So, you know, it gets dark pretty quick. You know, you shoot the stages. They're really quick, you know, stages. And then you're out, you know, and you're done by 8 or, you know, 8:30, something like that. And you're out, and that's your big day. And then you have another block of 5 stages, you know, on the 3rd day. So he did it in a very manageable schedule where you weren't burning yourself out. You still had time on your short day. You still have your time. You're in Vegas, so you have time to go do touristy shit in Vegas if you want to.
Yeah. Do you do touristy shit in Vegas?
Traveling with significant others or whatnot. What's that?
You don't seem like a touristy shit in Vegas kind of guy.
I am not, but I like to watch.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So yeah, Gunner and I we did Fremont Street and the Strip on the same night. We walked. Oh God, we must have walked 10 miles. But yeah, we're just wandering around, you know, gaping mouth tourists, just kind of like, oh, these lights are cool. Oh, look at that. There's a motorcycle ball over there. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, there's Elvis. That's cool. What's going on in the Flamingo? Oh, yeah, it's really smoky in here. Well, it's, you know, obviously some current events just happened in Vegas. Yes, we went over there and looked at that too. And so, but yeah, I kind of like to just wander around and watch, like, look at other tourists and be like, what why did you think it was okay to come out of your room dressed like that? Like,
what's your
1970
story?
Called and it wanted its button down back. All right. So like, just say no to that collar. But, I don't know. So it's cool. And you see people passed out in the street. It's just such a surreal place, and it's so lit up and colorful. I just like to go around and watch. I'm far too scared to do any of it myself, but I do like to watch.
Nice. All right. Well, so your favorite question? What was the terrain like?
Terrain in the match. I mean, this is a bay match. I'm sorry, Pete. You can't get around that. It is a bay match. However, they're pretty rugged bays. Like the terrain there, like the desert that this range is on, it has a lot of the really big, like, shale rocks. So they're bays, but it's not even footing. In fact, I'm not even sure that the Solomon Speed Cross is the appropriate choice of shoe for this match. Like, I mean, you're probably a little better off with something that's a little bit harder sole and a little bit more ankle support. Because there's a lot of these, like, softball, baseball size rocks.
Yeah, big ankle turners
on the bays. Yeah, they're big ankle turners. So, so it is a bay match. I think they even got their PP slapped a little bit, and they can't go as far out into the hills with the long range targets as they used to. I think I heard rumblings that BLM caught on to that and didn't like that. So
they were like put targets on BLM land or something.
I think that is what I heard allegedly, and I apologize if that is not true. But that is what I heard, that they had to rein it in a little bit. But there are 2 stages with long range targets on them, the 300 plus yard targets. But other than that, most of them are kind of USPSA pistol type stages with 3 guns is most of it.
What?
So
I kind of think 300 yards for 300, 350, whatever for long range targets, like the sweet spot. Like after that,
I agree.
I think it just becomes like a precision match, and then the only stage that matters is the rifle. You know, because
I agree, and I think a lot of the people who really like the long range stuff are going towards the sports that are doing that exclusively anyway. So like, I'm kind of cool with it being a carbine sport. Like 400, I think 400 yards is a legit target. Should be in play.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see 450. Once you get beyond that, though, or once it becomes more than 10% of the targets, I think that's excessive.
Yeah.
For 3-gun.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Texans love those far-ass targets because they don't have any trees, right?
Right, yeah. What else are they going to do?
Just got to put them farther away.
Right.
Which, though,
put it out
in
the Sundero.
Yeah, well, living in Texas last winter and shooting at Dissonant Arms and Marble Falls and all those local matches on the reg, actually, you know, made for made Dave a better rifleman for sure, you know?
Yeah. I imagine it did to you what Shooting Limited did to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not scared of those 350-yard targets anymore, and it wasn't that long ago that I was.
Yeah, same here. You know, it's funny when I shot a match this last weekend that we'll talk about soon, but there was a bonus target at 400 yards. I was like, oh, sweet.
Bing!
I know which hash mark that is.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like, I remember my first match just dreading, I want to say they were like 210 or 220 yard targets.
Oh, yeah.
My first major. And, you know, now,
I mean,
like
and those scars die hard. Like, I still carry around the quarterback wristband in my range bag in case I need to make a range card, you know, but I haven't used it in a while.
Man, do you remember, like, not trusting your ammo? Because it was like one MOA, M193, and then, God, you know, I even didn't have, we're getting kind of real off topic here, but I know you like to do that. I even had a like A2 front sight post with like the plastic handguard. So now, and with an
I didn't do that very long.
And then I had a lighter barrel on it. So now, anytime you touch it on anything, the point of impact changes, right?
Yeah.
So, man, it's good to have good gear and good ammunition. Everyone, listening.
No, that was an epiphany the day that I started using the longer range ammo, the Sierra Match King, or the Federal Gold Medal, Hornady Steel Match. I shoot a lot of ORM Tech custom comp ammunition now, but having that ammunition that does carry the heavier bullet, it's not even that much more accurate. Most of it flies pretty consistent through my rifles to the 55s, but it arrives with a lot more energy.
Yeah, I've been shooting the 77 grain Nexus, and that thing, you can tell when it indicates. Whereas like 55 grain, you're like, I'm just gonna trust you to call that.
You don't get the half flash that maybe they call. You get a full flash.
You get a full flash. Plus, you can call it yourself in your scope,
Yeah.
Rather than waiting for the hit call, so that makes you faster. Yeah.
Right.
Thumbs up all the way around.
Right. It hurts a little bit to shoot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's expensive stuff.
Well, it's funny, like when you go and start candy caning your rifle magazines based on like.
Oh, I've totally done that.
Oh, I still do it.
I've totally done that.
Yeah.
Like you have the however many Holzer targets like right before you get into the precision position, so you like count backwards.
Yep.
And you put the Holzer bullets on top.
Oh yeah. That's the only way to do it. I mean, unless you have just buckets of it for no good reason and you don't care what the price is, then
I don't drink very much, but I do like a good mag cocktail every once in a while. I'll mixology that shit right up.
Yeah. Good times. All right, so it was a bay stage or bay match, skills utilized.
But flavor of the match, and this is probably important to point out what they're really trying to do.
Oh, okay.
They're really trying to bring all the styles together.
Which I think is a cool concept.
It is a cool concept. Everybody claims to do it. I think Pete probably does it the best, or at least as close as possible with the facility he has.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say that he blends every match style together, What I will say is that there is something for everyone. So like if you were to say, oh man, well I wish there would have been more of this, then you'd be like, well, no, on that one stage they did have that. It's like, man, I wish they would have had more slugs. Nope, not there. There were a couple stages that had legitimate slug shots. Well, there should have been more long range. Well, there were a couple stages that had the long range on it. Well, you need more hoser stages. Well, there were some stages that had that. So there were the long field courses. There were the in tight, 3-gun nation style or USPSA style field courses in the close bays, and then there were kind of the standards courses like stand in a box and shoot these targets, and there was a good mix of all of them.
Right.
For all these stages. So.
Well, the cool thing about that concept is that the most well-rounded individual is the winner, right? It's not like you're awesome at long-range targets, but you suck at hoser stages, or vice versa. You have to be proficient in all 3 guns in all the ways that they are used.
Yes.
Well done, Pete. Good plan. All right. Anything else about the match flavor?
Nope. I think that's all I got.
All right. Tell me about the skills utilized. We kind of talked about that a little bit.
Skills utilized. I mean, I'll kind of build a little bit more on the concept of the match, and that they're not going to exhaust any one skill set, but they are trying to touch on all of them.
Okay.
So they're like kind of like I said, there was some long range. There wasn't a lot. There was enough that if you didn't do it very well, you were falling behind. And same thing with like the really tight, fast, USPSA style pistol courses. I mean, that was predominantly, the filler of the match, but like they weren't super hard. Like, I pretty much walked on to everyone, and in the 5 minutes, or realistically the 15 to 20 minutes you have, like when you get there, but then they call you around and they brief you, and then you actually get your 5 minutes. Like, I pretty much walked up to all of them cold, looked at them, and figured out the plan. Like there wasn't a whole lot of like deciding what to do. And then there were some that were just like, the shoot in a box stages that they were stand and deliver. And I think there's a good breadth of that. Like there was something for everyone there, but I don't think you didn't really get your fill of any one thing.
Right. So what are the, we're kind of mixing skills with match flavor, which is fine, but what are the, what are the matches that they're trying to emulate here? There's the USPSA Multigun Championship.
Well, that's I mean, I think
Man.
In theory they're trying to blend 3-Gun Nation, the USPSA Multigun, and then Iron Man, or the outlaw matches.
And then
I don't
stages like SureFire or wait, no, this is SureFire. What was the other one? Crimson Trace? Starlight, yeah.
Yeah. And then they have the shoot off thing on the last day. So
right.
But I don't think that directly translates as well as they picture it. If our skills utilized, this is an execution match.
Okay.
It's fast. Like this is a cyclic rate match. If you want to feel how fast your gun shoots, this is where you go to do it. and that's really what I went here to do. Like I just went because I thought it would be fun. Because I wanted to shoot fast at a bunch of, I really like the Western style matches. So I was like, I knew I was going to get to go and shoot fast and not have anything that was so hard it was going to piss me off. It was just like, we're just going to go out here and have an extravaganza. Cyclic, I really like that term. It was a cyclic rate match.
Nice.
And so, I mean, there were enough traps. Like when you get going at that speed, there were enough brake checks in there that if you weren't paying attention, you would blow past stuff. But it wasn't hidden. It wasn't a puzzle. There weren't any puzzles. there weren't any. I mean, some of it's advertised as optional, like such and such paper are optional targets. All the UML hexagon targets at this stage or at this match are rifle pistol options. That being said, where they lay at this particular match, it wasn't an option. Like, really, I mean, if you're smart, there was one way to do it. But that being said, you get going too fast, you can blow past one. And I did. Like, in my personal execution of this match, I shot a lot of slop.
Yeah.
There were some penalties. There were some penalties that I was not happy to. They were self-inflicted. I did them to myself, but like, that was it was not. I wasn't happy about it, and that was strictly because I was going too fast. Like I just got on a roll. I knew it was there, but I blew right past it, or I didn't do my diligence to the whole. I didn't follow my own rules for stage walkthroughs. To do the whole thing from beginning to end and think of the whole stage. Like, there were parts I breezed over, and when I was on the clock, I breezed over them, and that hurts. So there wasn't anything super tricky, but at the same time, if you didn't give it respect, I mean, they were right there to bite you. So there was that. It's a cyclic rate match. There's something for everyone. I will say of the two criticisms I have of this match, one of them would be that the shotgun is not adequately tested. Right.
And you're from Minnesota, which puts you at a disadvantage.
No, but like I get where people would think that, and that's fair for you to say, but like, if we're with the concept of this match, like we're trying to test everything, right?
Right.
I shot this whole match the same way I shot the last Pete Rensing match I shot. I put my diffusion choke in the beginning, and I didn't take it out.
Interesting.
Now, if that's funny for people who are local to me because they know that I don't use that one very often. So, like, I mean, I know what it is. I know what it does. We have an understanding. Like I have expectations of what it'll do, and I know what not to ask of it. But I mean, like there were no shot targets outside of 10 yards.
Right. Interesting.
So like there weren't any shot targets outside of 10 yards. So like, I mean, I would only say like let's at least make people think about changing their choke. Let's maybe put a legitimate shotgun target out there. Call it a pistol or shotgun option target, but let's like make a legitimate, show some respect shotgun target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be my only criticism is like if we're going to do the whole thing, we're going to round out the whole thing. There's room for challenge on the shotgun. Now they did do some fair, but gut check slug shots. I mean, there were 50 to 70 yard slug shots on flashers.
Small targets? Or?
What's that?
Were they pretty small targets? Or
no, they were ginormous.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're like MGM flashers. They were 8x10s or whatever.
Okay.
So there were some legit slug targets where if you know how to shoot slugs, you're going to hit them. If you don't respect slugs, you don't practice them, you're going to miss them. There were some flying clays. I do like that. There were some flying clays. There was the long-range rifle stuff. There was the short-range rifle stuff. There was adequate amount of pistol. There were pistol shotgun options, but, they were on the really small hex plates. So, like, you had a legitimate choice there. Like, am I going to shoot this really small plate with a pistol, or am I going to take the time to load the shotgun?
Right.
The only thing that was kind of lacking was some concept of mastery or at least understanding of the capabilities of birdshot with a shotgun. Other than that, they pretty much covered everything else in an adequate and fun way.
Okay. All right, I guess
so.
Farthest shot number of long-range targets?
Farthest shot I want to say was 340, and I will say legitimate long-range targets. There were 7 of them.
Okay.
Which in the past we've defined as 200 or over.
Right.
There was a rifle spinner at 80, so I would kind of lump that in with long range. That kind of is the same skill set.
What kind of position did you have to shoot that from, or did you choose to shoot that from?
You could shoot it prone. I elected not to. There was like one of those construction spools.
Okay.
Which was the quote-unquote shooting position. So I elected to go reverse kneel off of the spool to shoot the spinner, which was about 50-50. I would say most people were trying to utilize that spool.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume for the same reason I was, because it takes a long time to get into prone and it takes a long time to leave, as Jerry Micklick says. And I forgot my knee pads, so I wasn't super stoked about swan diving onto the sharp rocks.
Right. How'd it work out?
But it worked good. It worked good. That's probably the cleanest I've ever shot a rifle spinner. especially with a limited optic. I was pretty proud of myself on that one.
Right.
But at the same time, I had to leave one of the long range targets. Just the light was wrong. Just couldn't connect with it. I was all over. There's kind of a crosswind. There was a full value crosswind when I was shooting, and just couldn't make it happen on one of those. But from the feedback I was getting, like, compared to the other guys in limited, they were all coming to me like, "Dude, you crushed that stage." I was like, "Really?" 'Cause I left an unhit target out there, but
it's like Jerry says, you never know how deep the hole someone else's digging is.
That's exactly right. Like, I mean, it's not, and you can look around at some of the other big names who had struggles at this match. It's like, it's not perfection. It's struggling less than everyone else. Right. I think was really, really what happened. So I would say about 7 long range targets, and they were inside of 350.
Okay.
I'm on an SBR kick this year, so I really wish I would have brought my SBR, because I totally could have done that with my SBR and had a lot of fun. But
why didn't
I
you?
brought my
Paperwork?
long gun. I got the 14-incher out. So.
And you just didn't do that because of paperwork?
Partially. I could have filed the paperwork in time. If I would have proactively done so. But from what I was hearing, that there was going to be long range here, I didn't want to risk it.
Gotcha.
Or I thought the safe play, same thing. I wanted to shoot the Huey at this match too. Elected to shoot the Spitfire instead, because that is the smart play if you have to shoot long range. However, the part of me that's professional and involved with products at Vortex, I really wanted to shoot the Huey, and could have got some good experience on it. But I mean, I have lots of time on the Huey. I just could have gotten more on it, and I'm really excited about it these days. But
I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably file a Form 20 for next year in anticipation.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right. So
I got a Form 20 in for Virginia. So.
And are you gonna bring your SBR out for that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Do you have Tell me if this is true, or this is just one of those range rumors, that you only have to file a Form 20. You don't have to actually have it approved to be able to go.
Well, I mean, you can drink and drive too, as long as you don't get caught.
Right. Okay.
If you get caught without proper paperwork for NFA items, that's a felony.
All right.
It's a big deal.
We'll talk later then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do the matches I intend to bring them to. I do have Form 20s filed, and I do have all that paperwork with me. It's not that big of a deal. Like, as much as we resent the paperwork, it's just a matter of filling out the permission slip and submitting it and waiting for it to come back, which takes 3 weeks to a month.
Ugh.
But
lame.
Once you have it, it's good for a year. So
is it just for that state or
I
something?
could file it. I could file it September 1 to travel to Pro Gun Club in Las Vegas, effective, September 1, 2017 to September 1, 2018.
But do you have to mention like what club you're going to, or can you just say what state?
You have to give them an address.
Oh, really?
Put an address on there. Yeah.
That's lame.
But I mean, you're traveling anywhere between those two places, as long as you're en route, right?
Right. Okay. Well, still lame.
But, it is lame. It is lame. It is stupid. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I look forward to the day it changes, but it is currently the law of the land, and I wish to use those items, so I follow the regulations accordingly.
It's good to be a free American, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Go to the airport and tell yourself you're free.
Yeah. Go do anything.
Anyway.
Dig a hole in your backyard. Build a shed. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Parks and Recs lately. But
yeah.
All right, so logistics.
Yeah. Logistics is all the pre-match stuff, right? I usually confuse this with venue.
Logistics is like check-in, scoring, getting to the range, etc. I mean, I guess venue's part of the getting to the range. So
yeah, logistics are pretty good on this one. There were some rumors flying around. Like I was under the impression that the night stages were only rifle pistol.
Mm-hmm.
I was mistaken, but there were plenty of people with shotguns, M2s that had flashlights on them, so I just used one of those. One of my new friends was gracious enough to let me use his shotgun with a SureFire light on it and a tape switch. That was cool. But so there's some of the stuff like that, or like
check-in and scoring.
Check-in was good. I assume I wasn't there because I flew in late. Pete actually came and found me on Sunday, and he's like, "Hey, guy I was looking for. We were looking and you didn't register." And I was like, "That is correct." He's like, "You need to go do that right now, otherwise I have to kick you off the range and you can't shoot the 16th stage." And I'm like, "I will get in my car right now." But I mean, normally check-in is like, "Here's your T-shirt, have a nice day." At this range, there is a bar serving alcohol. So
interesting.
To be at this range shooting, you need to have a wristband on.
Right.
And like nobody really got this. Like, usually there's some like dumb reason we have to have wristbands on. Like what are we 18 and going to the club or whatnot?
This one actually makes sense.
Yeah, this one, as soon as you start drinking at the bar, they cut your wristband off. So if you're not wearing a wristband at this range, you are drunk. Which some people who are in contention for stage 16 found out the hard way.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, they ripped that bad boy off just a little bit too soon.
So then there's
it's a rookie move, but you hate to see it.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
But Pete got on the microphone and he's like, "Dudes, here's the deal. Don't want to be a dick about this, but here's why you're wearing those wristbands." And so at check-in, they did actually have a legitimate reason they needed to check you in. I made the oversight of not tracking them down and signing the form on Friday, which I should have, but I did sign the form. I did do all the stuff, but yes, there was a check-in. You got your T-shirt, you got your goodie bag. There was, the website is really nice. The website has a lot of good information on it. It's organized. It's easy to navigate. We talked about the scores. The scores were promptly posted in an organized fashion, more so than they usually are. So no, logistics on this match were really good. Access was good from the highway for the facility. There was some construction going on, and there was a pretty big car accident too on Sunday. But for the most part, I mean, this range is pretty easy to access. So, and there's lots of all the amenities of Vegas are not very far away. So, the logistics was definitely good at this one.
Okay. Anything else about the venue other than near Vegas?
Well, that's kind of the deal. Like I think like for most of the people who are listening to this, right? They're not sponsored shooters. They're not traveling for business or any other sort of reason. This is like a vacation, right?
Yeah.
Like you're electing to go on a vacation. Well, here is a full service match, professionally run, 15 stages on a schedule that doesn't burn you out, and it's in Vegas, which is easy to fly into from anywhere, has all kinds of options for hotels, all kinds of options for nightlife, all kinds of options for entertaining all the non-shooting members of your family who may or may not want to travel with you. So I think this is probably one of the best values of matches that you can go to. Really.
Sweet.
So, I mean, for me, after my experience from this last weekend, for me, this is a must-attend match. And that's,
really?
That's not a term I throw around.
No.
So, I would say this one is definitely on my list of must-attends for next year, and I'm probably going to look hard at coming to. I heard a lot of good things about Expedition from this year.
I did too.
So
I want to do that one next year.
Giving that one a hard look for next year too.
I tell you, the term must-attend match is like pretty much the highest praise you can receive on the 3-gun Show Match Recons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to, as are you, to go to so many of these matches, and like we would go to them all if we could.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can't.
It's a finite amount of time. Dave gets tired eventually.
Like if you gotta play the PTO card and utilize all your resources, to go to a match, I would say this is definitely one that I'm going to try to go to. And I think no matter where you are, like so many of the matches that people go to or that people like are geographical.
Right.
Like it just makes sense if you live in the Midwest to go to the Missouri Championship. Just makes sense to go to Shooter Source if you live in Texas.
Right.
But Vegas by design is accessible from anywhere. Yeah. So even if you live on the other end of the world from Vegas, it's a good match and it's easy to access. So I think you should give it a hard look.
Yeah, flights are cheap.
Yes.
All right, so we only have a couple categories left. How was pre-communication?
Pre-communication,
any emails telling you to write round count, stuff like that? You said there's plenty of information on the website.
There were some emails. I think the website was pretty comprehensive. So like they weren't beating you over the head with it, but at the same time, like when I had a question, I could go and find the answer straight away, pretty much. So all the information you needed was readily available. So
right.
So yeah, I would say pre-communication was certainly adequate.
Okay. And how about staff? Uh-oh.
This is the other one. The other criticism that I have.
Okay.
And I also throw out this caveat because I've been on all sides of this. So I'm not afraid to call a spade. I did not like the staff as a whole. There's obviously good people throughout the whole thing, but this match draws a lot of its lineage from the USPSA multi-gun. A lot of USPSA multi-gun staff, I'm sure, crosses over. USPSA multi-gun is probably a match I have very little, if any, interest in ever attending it ever again. Really? Why is that? Because they're dicks. Really. They are.
Life's too short to be surrounded by dicks.
I went one time, and they sucked all the fun out of 3-gun, if that was even possible. So, it's just like, I mean, if Pete's in charge of it, there's a chance I'll go back, but that's the only chance.
Mm-hmm. What was wrong with it? I mean, we're kind of getting off of this match, but
like we've talked about before, though, there's the RO, there's the customer service element of matches now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, in the USPSA style, I use that as a genre, not necessarily directed specifically at that organization, but as a group of people, there's the kind of the us versus them mentality. Like, there's two events going on. There's the shooting event, and then there's the ROing event.
Right.
And so there is a sizable majority of ROs who are very passive about anything to do with, like, running the stage efficiently or communicating with the shooters, or getting things reset and making sure everybody was there. But man, when there was a chance to DQ somebody, they were right on top of it.
Right.
And so that I just don't have time for. When I feel like I have to defend myself, or I have to look over my shoulder to, like, do something like, am I going to get yelled at or something like that? That's not acceptable anymore.
Right.
So, and as an example, this didn't happen to me, had no bearing on me at all, but I did witness it. Just as an example, we're getting ready to brief a stage or whatever, or we're getting ready to brief the stage, and all of a sudden the RO stands tall, and he says, "Whose earmuffs are behind me?" I look behind him. He ain't talking about the effing earmuffs. He's talking about the pistol that's in a holster sitting on a table.
Okay.
It's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're talking about the pistol, aren't you? Yep. Whose is it? Why? Who cares? Why? Well, he's, at USPSA, that would be a DQ. Now, not only does it say in the rules that it's okay to detach a holstered pistol and set it down outside the safety area,
mm-hmm.
It also expressly says this in the FAQs posted on the website, that this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we showed this to him. Still called the range master over.
Oh, you're kidding.
Still had a conversation about it. And then we're like, well, guys, this is cut and dry. This is okay. Well, we know it says that, but really, I mean, you should be doing that, like you should be putting it in a bag. Well, it's like, F you. 30 seconds ago, you were going to DQ this guy. And now you're going to talk about, well, the intent or the letter of the law. Well, the intent was that, you put it in your bag. No, they said it's okay. They said it's okay. Explicitly, But I'm sorry you dropped a blue pill and you didn't get to use it, but, like... this is okay, and you were going to DQ this guy because you either didn't understand the rules or you thought you had a chance to bounce somebody. That's not cool.
What is the
and that's
like,
and that,
you said, the
that's
blue
an
pill
extreme example, but it is a specific example that I was witness to, and that mentality of like oh, well, we got to do this, or you might get DQ'd for that, like.
What is it that what's the excitement of DQing someone? I don't get it.
Know.
I don't
know. It's some of the crappiest stuff I've ever had to do.
It's terrible.
I've done it a lot. I've done it more than once. And if I never did it again, it would be too soon. But I'm not afraid to do it to people who've earned it. But the benefit of the doubt goes to the shooter.
Right.
Like, you got to know. and it's got to be cut and dried. Like there's no gray area in DQs. So getting DQ'd, getting shut down for stuff that's not blatantly dangerous is not okay. So I'm not going to nitpick every decision that I watched ROs make, but as a theme, ROs were very passive about stuff that matters. Stages running on time, people getting stages reset, efficiently getting the guns cleared so that they could get, reset underway. But their interest was aroused when it was time to issue penalties or potentially DQ somebody. And I think, and I don't think that's okay. I don't know if that's culturally part of the Southwestern 3-gun community. I don't know if that was dictated to them by administration, if administration didn't even know that kind of thing was going on, but that's my observation of this match from other matches. And so, when I go there from now on, I go there with a defensive posture that, like, I have to defend myself from ROs here, right? Until they choose to show to the community that they've changed that. That's going to be my perception of them.
Now, is this like perception that other people share, or?
I don't know. I didn't ask anybody. That's just my opinion. That's Adam Maxwell's opinion, perception of my experience at this match. I didn't really. I talked to a couple other people and that that I was traveling with, but no, that's my opinion and mine alone.
Right. So did you guys have a lot of DQs on your squad then?
Yes.
Really? For anything that you'd say was BS?
One was legit. He earned it. One was by the letter of the law. I don't agree with the other one, but I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
But yeah, there were a few DQs on our squad, and I believe there was something like 15 or so, 10 to 15 or so for the whole match or more.
Does that seem high?
To me, it does. I mean, all the ones that I saw happened on the first day. So, but like I said, I mean, I think there were people who got bounced for reasons that were technically DQs by the rules, but they weren't. I don't think they were. They were worthy of significant penalty. They weren't. You're too dangerous to shoot with us.
I gotcha.
But that's my personal opinion.
Okay. All right. So how about the fun factor?
Fun factor? I mean, I went there. I just wanted to shoot fast. Like it's a fast-paced match. Steel's falling over, making noise. You got to shoot all the fun props. He really did. Pete did a lot of work. I don't know if anybody helps Pete or if these are all his own ideas, but he did some really good work setting up walls and setting up all the angles and the barrels and everything. So that was really fun, and it's in Vegas. It's just
right.
It's a good venue. Like I said, Gunner and I went around and did touristy stuff, and so it's just a fun trip. It's good weather. It's easy access, so it just has all the makings of a fun trip to go to Vegas and shoot guns. So that was the fun part for me. God, I thought I had something else for fun factor.
16th stage, maybe.
The 16th stage was really fun
because it's a shoot off, right? So
it's a shoot off, and
so it's practice for what you're going to be doing.
Myself and a few other people who were there were training up for another one here that's coming up in a couple weeks.
Right.
But I'll have to say that I couldn't even tell you why. Like, I was just like, oh, this is something we're going to do. Obviously there's the pressure to perform, but at the same time, like, I mean, it's one, it's not the first time I've been in a shoot off or anything. But I dumped adrenaline so hard in that shoot off. I got to the last box and my leg was literally shaking to the point where like I was having a hard time focusing on the sights because I'm like, my legs are shaking so much. I don't know if I can shoot a pistol like this. Like the last time that I had that much adrenaline going through me, I was in the flight category of the fight or flight response to a life-threatening situation. So it's
Nice.
so it was pretty intense when it was all over. And then, so then it's over and that's, your award ceremony or whatever. And so Pete calls you over, come over here and talk to me. And he's doing a good job, like social media. He's live streaming it and everything. And hey, good job, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And here, talk. And he hands me the microphone. I'm like, I have nothing. I
find that hard to believe. You just talked for hour and 20 minutes.
Right. I felt so stupid, but like literally, like I had nothing. Like I was like, I'm just gonna say random things into the microphone until I can put together a cogent thought. So for about 15 to 20 seconds, I rambled like a drunk, just like, hey, I'm just gonna talk into the microphone until I don't know, what do you want me to say? And then of course Chad's like, what rifle do you shoot? I was like, and then I answered him like an idiot, like I shoot a Mark 114 PWS. But then I thought of something cogent to say, but for a minute there, I had an absolute blank. I had no idea what to say because I was drunk on adrenaline and
Nice.
not a cogent thought in my head.
That's funny because when someone talks to me after a stage, like I can't shut up. Like I just keep talking.
Yeah, me too. Well, like I was just all of a sudden it was like here.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and usually people like just press the approve button, sir. Like, oh, you didn't want to hear about the stage? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought we were gonna have
I thought
a
we were
moment
talking.
there,
You just
but,
needed to press that button.
No,
Got it. All right.
Well, bye. So,
all right, man.
But,
So then, how about any funny things that happened at the match?
Funny things that happened at the match. Well, I had some tertiary ones.
Okay.
I got them secondhand because unless you've been living under a rock lately,
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
You know that something pretty big went down in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
some maniac mowed down a bunch of people at a country concert.
Yep.
With what now with the state of news that we have appear to be AR-15s with slide fire stocks.
Yep.
And SureFire mags. And it's absolutely terrible. And it obviously has the potential to impact flying into Vegas with firearms, flying out of Vegas with firearms, staying at hotels with firearms, renting cars with firearms, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. So
and this is like a week after,
happens,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a week after this
I
has
watched
happened.
this happen on the news. And I go into the office at Vortex and we're talking about it. And I'm like, yeah, I have to fly there with guns next week. And they're like, what? like all my buddies in sales, they're like, dude, oh man. I'm like, hey, just have the doll ready so I can show you where the man touched me. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm loathing the travel part of this trip. Like I'm super excited for the match, but I just cannot get the flying part over with fast enough. But it went really smooth for me. In fact, they didn't even weigh my stuff, which was
really
a big win. Yeah, because I'm about 50-50 if I'm going to be overweight or not. So they just like slapped the tag on there and off to TSA we went. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But one of my colleagues was there. He was staying over between USP, I think it was Production Nats at St. George the weekend before. So he went to that match. He was going to stay over the week and then shoot this match.
Mm-hmm.
While he was staying over the week, he was staying at the Bellagio. Bellagio saw the Pelican case in his back seat, asked him to explain what that was, and after about 8 different individual security guards came and inspected his vehicle, they figured out that they were going to confiscate his firearms. Some of them were samples for the company that he works for, and keep them for the extent of his stay. So that kind of thing was going on. What was his response? What's that?
What was his response?
Oh, he just went along with it. You know, it's just like SHOT Show. Basically, it's the same thing they do at SHOT Show.
Wait. So you just let people have your guns?
He did.
I mean, that's what. Is that common?
At SHOT Show, it is. At SHOT Show, you're not allowed to bring any of your guns up to the room. Okay. Well, at SHOT Show, they're on the show floor, right? Right. So I don't know specifically, but I mean they were kept in secure storage at like the guest vault or whatever while he was staying there. Man, I wouldn't be comfortable with that at all. I wouldn't either, but that was his the way he played it. But what I think is the funny story. Do you have Keith scheduled to be on the show anytime soon? Keith Garcia? Yeah. No, but we can make that happen. Good. All right. So I don't remember what hotel Keith was staying at, but Keith rolls up to a hotel, and the security's checking people. So they go up to him and say something to the effect of, "Sir, can we have a look in your trunk?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "What?" It's like, "No, you're not looking in my trunk." And they're like, "Why?" And he whips out his badge. Nice. You know, he's a California cop. Right. Which, I mean, he's a cop, but last I checked, this is Vegas, not California. Right. And so they're like, "Oh, are you here to help with the thing?" And he's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they let him go. Huh. But he elected not to try his luck at that twice. So he gave all his stuff to one of the guys on his squad the next night to take one of the local guys. Nice. But it was funny. They're like, "Hey, yeah, we want to search your vehicle." And he's like, "No, you're not going to do that." He just whips out his badge. I thought it was a pretty good story. This is another good reason to do what the hell are those called? Help me out here. VRBO. Oh, yes. Yep. More good reasons for VRBO. Yeah. Are you going to Three Gun Nation Nationals? No. Oh. I'm really excited about our VRBO for that one. Are you? It's good. It's a good posse. Okay, well, do tell. You brought it up. You got to tell. Well, so far I think it's Joe Farewell, Josh Durant, Josh Freilich, Nick Molina, Pat. Drawing a blank on Pat's last name, but Joe Pitha, and man, that's a pretty inclusive list already. But there's sounds like a pretty good crew. Yeah, if I ramble long enough, I can open the Facebook message and figure out who all the rest of them are. Nah, that's all right. Pat McCutcheon. That's who it is. But yeah, there's a bunch of dudes. Shoot. Where are you going with this, dude? Tucker Schmidt. Anyway, I don't know. It's really, but the VRBO thing, like, it started off. I was like super skeptical about it. I was like, no, that's dumb. Let's just stay at a hotel. No way, man. It's the way to go. We did it one time in Texas. And then I was like, oh, man. We did it one time in St. George last year at Hard as Hell. And then we did it in Texas this summer, and like now it's like the only way.
It really
Like,
is. So
we have to. It's so much fun.
So some friends of mine did that a few years ago. We went to Knob Creek for the world's largest machine gun shoot that they do twice a year. And it was great, man. We stayed in Louisville, and this, 100-and-something-year-old house that was pretty amazing. And the part that I like about it is, you can go to like a restaurant or something like that, and you're talking to the people next to you. Or you can stay at the house, cook like a big family meal and stuff, with all your buddies and everything, drink a bunch of bourbon and beer and have a good time, and then you can talk to everybody, right? It's like It's like a party every night. So the VRBO definitely is the way to go. And if you're listening and you're thinking of traveling to a match, if you can put together like a couple buddies, trust me, you will like the VRBO. It's the way to go.
Yeah,
we should get them to sponsor the podcast.
I would definitely second that. I was a skeptic the whole way, but
you don't like change.
If you can get a decent posse together, well, it's kind of like rental cars. Like I'll rent a car instead of driving my own to go to a major match because I can just kind of walk away from the whole thing after the weekend. Well, like when all the mud and sand and all that stuff's in there, it's like, yeah, peace.
Yeah.
Out.
Or you like
same thing with the hotel. Like, it's just like, yeah, I mean, they're gonna come, they're gonna clean it every day, they're gonna give us fresh towels. But no, the space to stretch out, socialize with everybody, or if you got a little bit of an introverted side like me, you can go off for a little bit, do your own thing, then come back later once you've decompressed a little bit. It's more relaxed.
Yeah, I like it.
You don't get tired of each other's stories as quickly. So,
all right, Adam. Anything else you want to add to the match recon of the SureFire World Multigun Championship?
No, man. I don't know what I was quite expecting when I came, but it certainly was everything that I seek out in a match. It is, in fact, an extravaganza, and they do cram enough shooting into the weekend to satisfy me, which is hard to do.
Nice.
And the night stages was a nice touch. I would like to see more of that going forward. And then, so in the combination with those, the way they played out the schedule, and then kind of the breadth of the stages that they had, it was just a really good blend. And like I said, one of the biggest endorsements I can give is say it's must attend. And for me, it's on the very short list of must attend matches for 2018.
Very cool. Well, Adam, thank you for your time and doing the sleep deprivation thing one more night here and getting this the match recon in the books while it's still fresh in your head. And for everybody listening, before you take off, check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com for links to things that we discussed in the podcast. You can also sign up for Patreon. If you're listening to this in real time, then you are already on Patreon, and we appreciate you. You can also buy 3Gun Show logo T-shirts at the at 3gunshow.com. So, fun
Dave,
fact. Check this out,
buddy.
buddy.
Have ladies sizes now?
They do have ladies sizes. The other cool thing coming up, Born to 3 Guns coming back.
What?
The Born to 3 Gun shirt.
Oh, good. I didn't get one the first time.
What? Oh, that's right. You weren't sold on the podcast at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm
You're a late comer.
Everything that I eventually love, I start out hating.
Again, Adam doesn't like change.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
All right. As always, this podcast is brought to you by Armalite. Armalite has allowed me to get special pricing for listeners on their line of 3-gun rifles, both the 13.5 and the 18-inch, as well as their competition handguards, gas blocks, and tunable muzzle brakes. If you're in the market for a rifle or components to build your own, just email me, Dave at 3gunshow.com, and I will hook you up. And a last quick reminder, if you enjoy this podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast content so you always get the very latest. You're listening on one of these apps, just hit that little subscribe button. And also leave a review. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman for Adam Maxwell. and I'll see you on the range. Hey, before you take off, be sure to check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com for links to things that we discussed in the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Armalite, the original. Armalite rifles put the AR in AR-15. The rifles themselves come with 1 8 twist barrels, match barrels, 18-inch or 13.5-inch with a 15-inch or 12.5-inch handguard, Timney trigger, Luth AR stock, adjustable gas system, tunable comp, a patented tunable comp. This thing's ready to go right out of the box for a 3-gun with no additional modifications other than putting on a nice optic. I myself use a Vortex Viper PST 1-6 when I'm shooting TAC Ops or their Spitfire when I'm shooting limited. Check them out at armalite.com. A quick reminder that if you enjoyed this podcast, consider supporting the show on Patreon for as little as $5 per month. That's like 3 rounds of 9mm per episode. Patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.